Hi guys, welcome back. Today is Sunday. I have done no writing this week, which means all my plans went absolutely down the drain. But today is a new day and I'm optimistic it's going to be a good day. I was so focused on everyone's opinion online that says you have to write a certain amount of words today to stay in the story, to stay with the imagination. And I'm not saying that that's not true. And I'm not saying that that can't be incredibly helpful to stay in that world. And I think if I didn't have a full-time job, it would be a lot easier. But also I have other goals that I'm trying to achieve as well around my writing. I'm currently training for a marathon, which takes up a lot of time. Everyone says you have to choose what is most important. Writing is really important to me, but then so is achieving these other goals that I have planned. So I'm trying to find that balance in my life where it doesn't have to be all or nothing, because I think I get very stuck and very focused on if I'm not doing it completely perfect and 100% correct, then there's no point in doing it at all. So I was listening to an interview the other day of Brandon Sanderson, who I am by no means comparing myself to, but he was saying that he has to have a certain amount of time to stay in the story to be able to get the words down. And I think maybe that is how I write better. So last weekend I wrote 10,000 words and they came quite easily. I really enjoyed the process. I found myself really immersed in the storyline. I could see it clearly in my mind where it was going and what my protagonist was doing. I also felt I really got to know Hazel's voice and her sort of attitude and how she would react to certain situations. Also, what makes it slightly more difficult is I think I'm a discovery writer. I think it's that ADHD. I get bored if I know where it's going. Like I tried to plan out my last book and I think I got that sort of kick of, oh, it's done now. I know what's happening. I don't need to write it. Whereas this one I find a lot more interesting because I have no idea what's happening. I have no idea. I have a rough idea of where it might go, but it's still that excitement of the discovery of what your characters are doing and where they're going to go and all the rest of it. So that does make it a bit harder. So I think sitting down for a few hours is definitely the easier way for me to write. I hope at least some of that made sense. I think what I'm going to try and do is write a certain amount of words a week and not have it daily, because I still need to make sure that I'm putting in the effort and that I'm setting time aside to get it done, but not so focused that if I have a really busy day at work or if I'm on a 16-hour shift that I can't get those words done. So I think I'm going to aim for 5,000 words a week. I think it's a good amount. Will I go over that? Hopefully. But I think it's also, it'll be 2 days I could sit down and do 2,500 words, which is for someone like me is really doable if I have a 2-hour chunk of time. So the project that we're working on at the moment is Project Changeling. It's a dark romantasy where we're following our protagonist. She's just found out she's a witch. Now this is what I'm going to struggle with today. So her family are human. They know nothing about the other world. They're thieves. They do a lot of burglary, and she is one of their main assets as such, because although they don't know she's a witch, she has certain abilities that makes that job easier. She is adopted and they're a really cruel, emotionally manipulative family. So she is really beholden to them. She feels really indebted to them. They make sure that she doesn't want to run away. She feels like she's got nowhere else to be or to go, or that she's really reliant on them. And at some point she is going to have to leave them for this other world that will cause a lot of distress and anger with her adopted parents, because later on I'm thinking that they're going to sell her information or her details or something like that over to bad guys. I don't even know who they're going to be yet, but the bad guys at some point are going to want information on her and they're going to go to her adopted family to get that information. So the way she leaves them has to be in a way that she would, because if you're emotionally manipulated to someone, it's really hard to get yourself to leave that situation. So she has to want to leave it enough that she would risk their retaliation, and also in a way that they really want, well, they're going to want revenge anyway, because in their mind she's taking away one of their best assets for burglary, for the robberies that they do. And that's the problem. I need to sit down. I need to make time not only to write, but also to plan a little bit. Even though I'm a discovery writer, I need to know some things. So that's the plan today. I'm gonna go. It's just started raining. Of course it has. I really want to get out of the house today. I need to go find some coffee. I'm new to the city, so I don't know the area at all, but I do know there's a Starbucks. So we're going to head there first, and then we're going to find somewhere to sit down and write. I don't know if I'm the only one who gets really stressed when I drive on a shared pathway in a city I don't know, because part of my brain is like, you could just be driving in the middle of a pedestrian area for no reason, and everyone will look at you and think that you can't drive. I like the roads, I know. I like exploring new places and I like going new places, but I get stressed when I have to drive in new places because I don't know the rules of the road, and especially in a different country. okay. Like, it wasn't amazing, but I did get some words down. I think just over 1,000 words. I'm struggling a little bit with kind of where the story's not finishing, but like the next chapters. So I just skipped the bit where she tells her parents she's leaving, because I wasn't sure how to handle that and I didn't want it to stop me writing today. So I have written a chapter that I was just quite excited to write, but I do think I need to sit down and actually work out some of the plot points. Not all of them, but just a general idea of where we're going and what we're doing. I did work out some when I was in the library, like why the war started, who the council are, and kind of what the deal is with them. But I need to know more of like the magical abilities of each of the beings, why they really hate each other. Some of the other, like there's like a main couple of wars, but I need some like undercurrent issues as well to make the whole thing more believable, I think. So I'm going to make a Pinterest board, because I love a Pinterest board, and I'm going to make some Spotify playlists for the chapters as opposed to the characters, because music is a huge part of me figuring out my story problems and things like that. So we're heading home now, and hopefully maybe I'll do a sprint as well, but we'll see. Okay, we're going to make some lunch now because I am starving, and then we will start with our Pinterest board, I think. It's a smoky, spicy bean soup, and it's my absolute favourite. On this one, I've tried to separate them into different areas. So here we have the Order, which is basically our council. I'm undecided kind of what they are or where they've come from. I know they would have been one of the factions, if not, they're all different parts of it, but I think they've become so poisoned that they've become something else. So this is my little mood board for them. I don't think they're going to show their faces because they would have changed so much. So that's my theory here. Next, we have our witches, which will be elemental witches. Then next up we have our fairies. So the fairies are going to put on like a show of how nice they are, how much they love nature, and they're really tricky people. So they'll show you their best side. They're secretly, so like this will be the throne for the queen. They're going to have two sides of their world that no one knows about. So this will be the sides that they display to everybody, and then there'll be like an evil undercurrent to that, which I'm really excited to get to explore. And then we have the shifters, which I'm kind of basing on Vikings, will be my vibe. They will all have horns. I'm undecided. I think there's going to be a hierarchy of horn compared to ranking, but I'm not sure yet. And then for the general overfeel of the book, we're going to go for these ones. I've had so much fun. I've spent 2 hours just going through Pinterest looking at all these pictures. It's really quite exciting, which actually means I won't have time to do a sprint today because I'm on an early shift tomorrow. I did have great fun. I'm going to do a quick Spotify playlist now, and then I think I'm going to call it a day. So it turns out that making a Spotify playlist is a lot more time consuming than making a Pinterest board. So I will work on that over the next couple of weeks. I did find a song. So this is a romantasy. So the romance side of this fantasy is going to be enemies to lovers, kind of forbidden Romeo and Juliet type style, with a lot more just sort of like anger and hate behind it. So the one song that I did find that unfortunately I can't play to you because YouTube will ban me is called Run Little Mouse by Nyaxi, I think. I've probably butchered that name completely, but that's what it is. But as soon as I heard it, I just had images of scenes with our couple. One of them is definitely going to be a lot more for this union than the other one. So I'm excited I found that one, and the other ones will just come with time. I know today wasn't a word heavy day, but I feel pretty good. I feel like I've got a better understanding. I feel like I know how the council works more, how the fact of our other beings, like what they are and who hates who and who gets on with who, and also the fairies. Now now I understand there is actually like two sides to their world and two sides to who they are. So they're very mischievous, malicious, and just very fake in the way that they present themselves. So that'll be really interesting to understand that. I do need to know how our protagonist has left her human family to go to the witches, and I think that's going to play in my mind until I get that written. So I think I'll practice that over the next couple of days, try and sit with that and figure that one out, because if I can get those scenes written, then I could just sort of plough ahead. So I have a good understanding of the story, I just don't need to know all the plot points to get there. So yeah, I think that's it. And I've got my Pinterest board done now, so which I'm really happy with. That was hours well spent. But that's it for this week. So if you are working on a draft, please tell me, let me know. I absolutely want to hear about it. And especially if you've struggled with something and then you found a way to overcome that, definitely let us know, because we can all improve as writers. But until then, I will see you next week.